Okay, the first thing we have to be aware of are our key signatures. So yesterday we built a chart for key signatures, correct? So you should have that chart out when you're doing your theory. But I'm going to build it again, just so that you remember how to do it. Remember that for this exam, you only need to know up to 4 sharps and 4 flats. So what's the rhyme for sharps? Father Charles goes down and ends battle. For flats, battle, ends, and down. Okay? We always start with C major and A minor on both sides. And again, when you build your chart, I'm going to start it for you. So you'll have this top chunk of the information written in. You just have to complete the rest of the chart. So Father Charles goes down and ends. Battle ends and down. If you're talking during this lesson, you're going to have to leave because other people need to learn, okay? And down goes Charles, father. On the right-hand side in the flats, battle ends and down goes Charles, father. Battle ends and. What happens when we repeat the rhyme? Flats. And also on this key, when we repeated the rhyme for the minor, father, battle ends and down goes Charles. And down goes Charles. Wait, I went backwards, didn't I? Father Charles goes down and ends battle. Father Charles goes down and ends battle. And then we repeat the rhyme, we add sharps. There we go. Thank you. And then the minor side of the flat chart, battle ends and down goes Charles, father. So you should all have that written down because once I leave this page, we won't have it as a reference anymore. Okay? So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a scale, and then from that scale I'm going to do an example of some intervals and an example of some triads. Okay? So we are going to be in the key of E major. So how many of what is in the key of E major? So look under the major side of your chart and find E and tell me what you have. Are they sharps or the flats, and how many? Sorry? Look under the major side of your chart, the plus sign of your chart. 4 sharps. Good. Because you'll notice that there's an E on the major side and there's also an E on the minor side. Okay, so we want the major E. So we have 4 sharps. So we're in the treble clef. Father Charles goes down. Now realize that your sharps and flats have a very specific place where they need to be. Father Charles goes down. And they can't be anywhere else. I can't put that G on the second line. That would be wrong. In a key signature, they're specifically placed in these spots, okay? So for sharps, you start high, down, up, okay? Now what note do I start on if it's C major? E, good. So I'm just going to use whole notes. There's E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. What do I always put at the end? Double bar line. Please don't forget that. You get a mark for it. Even if you don't write the scale, if you put the double bar line, I give you a mark. So it's a really important one. So there is an E major scale. That's all you have to do. Put in your key signature, start on E, end on E, every line and space all the way up. Quite often with these questions, they're going to be very specific, saying use quarter notes or use half notes. Make sure you follow those instructions. They might say ascending. It might say descending. It might say ascending and descending. Follow those instructions. Okay, very, very important. So here is an E major scale. So from the E major scale, what would the E major triad look like? What would it start on? Sorry? E. Good. So a triad is built on 1, 3, and 5 of the scale. Okay, 1, 3, and 5, and it looks like a snowman. So that is called a tonic triad. Tonic means that it's starting on the first note of the scale. So you can see very clearly from the scale that we've started on the first note, then you skip one, you do the third note, skip one, you do the fifth note. What does an arpeggio look like? What do I add to make this an arpeggio? What other note do I use? Yeah. You repeat the bottom one, or you can even call it 8. So for an arpeggio, you're using 1, 3, 5, and 8, but you're writing them broken like this. So there is your arpeggio. So all of these things are taken from the scale. Okay, so a triad is 1, 3, and 5. It looks like a snowman. The arpeggio, you're also doubling the bottom note at the top. So really using 1, 3, 5, and 8 if you're looking at it on a scale. Is everybody pretty clear on that? Does that make sense? Any questions? No? Okay. Intervals. Intervals are also taken from the major scale. So if I wanted to write a major sixth starting on E, I'm going from the first note to the sixth note. That is a major sixth. If I wanted to have a perfect fourth in E, I'd go from the first note to the fourth note. There's a perfect fourth. Okay? You just need to watch your accidentals. So in this case, we have F, C, G, and D. So in my sixth, I need that C sharp because it's in my key signature. And in my fourth, I don't need anything. Okay, so intervals are all taken from the scale. And I know when we learned intervals, we used it learning semitones, right? We learned it using semitones. And you can also do that. You can also count all your intervals out using semitones. But I just wanted you to see this. I want you to know that a major or perfect interval is lifted from the scale. But that just means if you do it that way, you have to figure out every single key of whatever your bottom note is. Okay, so for example, now if I started a scale, an interval here. Okay, so now I'm not starting on E. What note am I starting on? G. So this bottom note is G. What's in the key signature of G major? There's an F sharp. Do I have an F sharp here? Yeah. No, I didn't write F sharp. So is that a major? Is that a major interval? No, it's going to be minor because I didn't use the sharp. So what is the number associated with this interval? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Who said it? 7. So that would be a minor seventh. If I had this as G sharp, like it states in the key signature, then it would be a major seventh. Okay, so all the intervals are actually taken from the scales. But I taught you intervals using semitones, and I'm going to go over that today. But I just wanted you to be aware that it is taken from the scale. So if that makes more sense to you, to figure out the interval based on the bottom note and figuring it out in the scale, you can totally do it that way. But I am going to show it to you using semitones again today. Are there any questions about the triads or the arpeggio or the scale, the major scale? No? Okay, so we're going to... Okay, So minor scales, what you're going to do is you're literally just using the minor side of your chart now to create your scale. So what's a nice minor key? Not A minor. Let's pick one here. I'm going to use F minor. So we're going to write the F minor scale. So have a look at your chart and figure out what the key signature for F minor is. What's the key signature for F minor? B-E-A-D. Okay, so we're going to do this one in the bass clef. Again, the flats need to be placed on the staff in a very specific order. You start, if you're in the treble clef, you start right in the middle. If you're in the bass clef, you're kind of low. Battle, ands, and down. So you're starting low and moving up first. So up, down, up. They have to go in those spots. You can't put that, you can't put this flat up here. That would be wrong. It's got to be that A in the bottom space. Okay? What note do I start on? F. Good. D, A, B, C, D, E, F. And then I'm going to put a double bar line. What kind of a minor scale is this? Is it a natural minor? Is it a harmonic minor? Natural minor. Did we do melodic minors? No. You sure? Natural, harmonic. Okay, I don't see melodic anywhere. So yeah, we haven't done it then. If you don't even know what it is, yes. Good. Okay, so this is a natural minor. How do I make it a harmonic minor? You raise the seventh note. Very good. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's that seventh note. In this case, our seventh note is what? It's flat. So how do I raise it? To a natural. Okay? And that shows us our harmonic minor. Okay? So the natural minor is in black. The harmonic minor shows that change. Okay? So you're always just figuring out what the seventh note is and raising it by one semitone. Now I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to write the triad for this lovely minor key. So what note are we going to start on for the triad? Sorry? F. And what does a triad look like? Snowman. There it is. So we're using 1, 3, and 5 of the scale to create the triad. So there it is. B, E, A, and D are all flat. So are any of those hit with my triad? Which one? What do I have in my triad? Good. A. So A should be flat. That's it. Now, the other option would be doing a triad with a key signature. So you could have done this. B, E, A, and D. And then write your triad. That is also correct. Both versions are correct. Either you can just write the accidentals in, or you can put the key signature in and then draw the triad. Okay, what would the arpeggio look like? What else am I going to add for the arpeggio? The 8th note. So we'll have F, A, C, high F. Sorry, this is so tight. There we go. There's our arpeggio. So there's a triad with accidentals. This is the triad with a key signature, and that's the arpeggio. What do I need to add into the arpeggio? Either a key signature or the flats. Okay? Now, what if I wanted to write a perfect fifth starting on F? What would my two notes be? Starting on F. F and C. We're in the bass clef. F and C, that would be a perfect fifth. Okay? F to C is a perfect fifth. Okay, I'm going to do one more example. Okay, somebody pick a minor scale. Pick one from your chart. F sharp, okay. F sharp. Okay, we're going to do this one in the treble clef. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to write this. Can you stop talking, please? We're going to write this scale using accidentals instead of a key signature. Okay, so if the question says use accidentals instead of a key signature. So F sharp minor with accidentals. So what note are we going to start on? F, or more specifically, F sharp. And again, I'm doing all of these just ascending, but they could ask you for, actually, let's do this one descending, just so that we're seeing what that looks like. Descending. Okay, so we're going to start on F up here. And we're going to go 8 notes down to low F. What is in the key signature of F sharp minor? F sharp, yeah. What else? Sorry? F, C, and G. Okay, so the F's need to be sharp. There's 2 of them. Stop talking, please. The C needs to be sharp. And the G needs to be sharp. So there is F sharp minor, and that's a natural minor, right? It's a natural minor. How do I change that into a harmonic minor? What do I do? Raise the 7th note. Good. Do I count the 7th note this way? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and end up on that G sharp? No. You always go from the bottom up. That's why I thought I'd do one descending. You always go from the bottom up. Everything in music starts at the bottom and works up. So the 7th note is actually here. So you start at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So right now the 7th note is an E natural. How do I change it to a harmonic? Turn it into A sharp. E sharp, yeah. And that is the harmonic minor. Okay? So again, what would that triad look like? If I wanted to do a tonic triad, what would that look like? Good, F sharp. A and C sharp. Very good. F sharp, A, and C sharp, and that's a tonic triad. What would the arpeggio look like? F sharp, A, C sharp, and F sharp. Okay? So there is your arpeggio. And notice that if you're within the same measure, you don't have to restate the accidentals if you don't want to. Okay? Because once they're established for that measure, they carry through until you put a bar line. Okay? Any questions about this? No? So far so good? So scales, triads, and arpeggios were fine? That's awesome.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.